Hello. This is Blake Schroeder from Columbus. This is for cultural geography. This is my cross-cultural interview. This is Victoria Zamudio. Today is November 28th, and we're going to be talking about her culture and her traditions and heritage. So, tell me, Victoria, first, tell them what's your name and where you're from, etc.
Well, as you said before, my name is Victoria. I'm 19 years old. I'm from Columbus, Nebraska. I go to Northeast. And yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. First off, describe your heritage. What's your mom? What's your dad? Grandma? Grandpa?
My grandma is from Mexico, and my stepdad is from El Salvador. My mom is from California, and that's where I was born as well.
And if you were born in California, how did you end up in Nebraska?
My parents were divorced, and my dad and my mom were living at my grandma's, and so when they split, my mom didn't have anywhere to go because she had me at a young age, so my grandma was in Nebraska, and I came all the way over here.
I see. Very interesting. Do you have any traditions in your family that you find either unique or special to you? Anything regarding Thanksgiving or Christmas, or that your mom likes to do for her culture?
We make tamales during Christmas time, and we get the whole family to help out. That's pretty much it.
What are tamales? Can you explain what those are? Because I don't know what those are.
Tamales is like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like maize. I think it's flour in English. I don't know.
Corn.
Yeah,
I do know that one.
Okay, and what you do is you add water. It's like kind of like dough, so you have to like roll it out, get all the bubbles or air bubbles out, and then what you do is you stuff meat into them, and you can either have like meat with like green chili sauce, or red sauce, and then you wrap it up, and then you get corn something, and you wrap it there, and then you tie it at the bottom and the top, and then you put it in a big pot and basically steam it until it's good.
Is that your favorite meal that you and your family make?
Yes.
It's culture related, of course.
Yes.
Does she make anything else that you like better?
My mom also makes pozole.
What's that?
It's where you get like little corn looking things, and you put it in a bowl with all these spices, and they usually throw in like this leaf thing in there, and then you get meat and you boil it until the meat is tender, and then it's kind of like soup.
See, gotcha. Did you have a quinceañera?
Yes, I did.
And how was that? What goes on at one of those?
Quinceañera is when a girl is becoming of age. You have it when you're 15. It's kind of like a sweet 16, but you have it when you're 15. And you have like lots of these symbols, like the doll symbolizes like your last doll as a child. And then you have the ceremony where you switch from a flat to a high heel.
Right.
And that's you becoming a woman. And then you have a crown and all this other stuff. And then you have like dances that it's basically as a present to your gifts or your guests. And you do a surprise dance, and then a traditional dance, and then you give thanks to your guests.
Who all gets invited to that? Is that just family members or friends and everybody get invited to that?
It's pretty much anybody you know. You get coworkers, family, friends, long distance families.
So long distance family and relatives will come to these?
Yes.
So they're that big of a deal?
Oh yeah.
So it's bigger than like a 5-year-old's birthday party?
Way bigger.
Really?
You get a puffy dress and everything.
Is that expensive?
Oh yeah. Mine cost roughly around $300. That's more than my prom dress. Yeah. And that's not including your makeup, your hair, your nails, your...
So that's all professionally done, I take it then?
Yes. And then you also have to pay... Well, you ask people to... for help. So you ask, like, it's called a padrino. and padrina is usually their wife, and you ask them like, oh, would you be my padrino or padrina on the crown, or so it's like basically asking for help on your quinceañera, money wise.
Is that Batrino? How'd you say it?
Padrino.
Padrino? Is that...
Yes.
So that's normally... Is that like a... What should I say? Is that a tradition or is that optional?
It's tradition.
I gotcha.
And then they're usually recognized at the end of the night.
I see. How long do those last? Is that like a 30 minute shindig, or is that...
That's pretty much all day. Like
all day?
You get up really early in the morning and you go to church and go through that ceremony. I didn't do that, and then you go from your church to your party, and then you celebrate throughout the whole night.
I see. Huh. That's very... I did not know that. That's very interesting. That they go all day. Is there anything else similar to a quinceañera that's of the same importance? Or is that pretty much the big one as an adolescent?
Wedding. Probably, that's about it.
Is there anything different between a wedding of your culture and a wedding that's put on as normal? Do you like... Is there anything that's different? Not really.
I don't know. I haven't been married yet.
Oh, right. But I mean, I'm sure you've been to some. I think.
No.
Okay. I gotcha. Have you ever visited your California home or anything like that ever?
Yes, until I was 18. Every other summer.
Do you still visit your grandma there? Or?
Yeah, she's a bundle of joy.
And
she's like those grandmothers that like to plant.
Uh-huh.
And so she'll stand up there with like her hose just waiting for everyone to just come by and say hi. It's really good.
Okay. Do you enjoy going to California, or is it more of a hassle?
Depending who I'm going to see.
Does your grandma have any traditions or anything like that that are special or distinct than what you already normally do?
My grandma likes to welcome everyone. She's pretty much like that. She speaks a lot of Spanish, so she doesn't really try to speak English, which is...
Has she ever attempted to learn English?
She's tried. I've tried teaching her, but it's always really funny trying to see how that happens.
So do most of the people in your family, do you speak Spanish to almost everybody in your family then?
My dad, I speak Spanish to my dad, and then my grandma, but that's about it.
I see. So do they learn English, or do they learn English for you, or do they already know English then?
My dad learned English my stepdad learned English for his job, so that he can communicate with other people.
And how did you learn English? Was it just through schooling and all that?
Mm-hmm.
So was it natural just being around other people?
Yeah.
So you never took like classes for it or anything like that?
Oh yeah, I took classes.
Did you?
Yeah.
And how did those go? Was that spread out over a long time, or?
Until about middle school. But I moved a lot as a kid, so it was kind of hard.
Gotcha. Very cool, very cool. So regarding your quinceañera and going to California and all that, do you find it a hassle that you have to do all these things that's extra compared to, say what I do, because obviously I did not have one.
Yeah.
Do you see it as exciting, or do you see it as, oh my goodness, I have to do this and it's extra and it's work?
No, it was pretty fun because it's like part of like who I am, so it's basically would be normal to what you do.
I gotcha. Now, I'll change the subject a little bit regarding other things. Does your family or you, do they clothe differently than what you would see an average Joe on the street? Do they?
To parties, I would say that's the big difference. If we're going into like a baby shower, birthday party, they bring out their boots and their big buckles and their sombreros or whatever, yeah. And so I feel like that would be like a major difference.
Is there a reasoning behind the cowboy look, or is that just what they prefer? Does it have something to do with your actual heritage?
I don't really know. I think so. Like, especially like in Mexico. That's where all like there's like lots of cowboys and stuff.
Right.
They ride horses. They ranch. So my stepdad has his family owns a ranch, so he goes out and helps, and they have horses that they ride and everything.
Have you ever ridden one of the horses?
Mm-hmm.
And are you good at it?
No, I'm terrified. It's like, okay, it would say, oh, have you ever seen a horse? You've seen a horse.
I have seen a horse, yes.
Exactly. Have you been to one like side by side?
Not standing side by side, but I've been close.
Yeah, it's taller than me.
Right.
Yes. And I'm
Is it-
scared of heights, so that's terrifying too.
So did your parents force you to, or was it off your own will?
No, it was forced because they wanted a picture.
Was it a good picture?
No.
The real question.
I might try to fake it as much as possible.
I gotcha. Are there any college programs or clubs at Northeast regarding culture, or is it how because at CCC there's a multicultural club which I'm a part of, where it's mainly Hispanic people and people of Hispanic culture.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it because I enjoy being in extracurriculars, etc. But is there anything like that on Northeast campus?
I'm pretty sure there is. We have like SAC. It's kind of like an activities thing where you plan for activities throughout the whole month. They usually have pretty a diverse people there, but I don't participate in any.
Gotcha. Do you have any like holiday differences that you partake in regarding Christmas or whatever it be?
I've heard a story about the Three Kings, and it's where you put my cousin's boyfriend used to do this as a kid. He would put his shoes by the fireplace, and then he would ask the Three Kings like what he wanted for Christmas, and then he put them in his shoe. And his mom told him if he didn't put his shoes next to the fireplace, he wasn't going to get any gifts. So it's kind of like an exchange thing, but his shoes would always come back to him. And so what they did is they put their shoes there, they put their Christmas list there, and then they would go up, sleep, and then the next morning they would have like their Christmas list would be gone, and then all their gifts would be around the fireplace. And so and then his mom would tell him that the Three Kings brought them for you and stuff like that.
Is that a personal tradition, or is that worldwide regarding the Hispanic culture?
I feel like it would only be in like some regions because he's not from Mexico. He's
Right.
from like I think El Salvador too.
Gotcha. Is there any others, such as I remember you mentioned something about an elf?
An elf on the shelf. I learned this like what it was like last year, and it's where you take a doll and you put it somewhere in a random place, and the little kid is supposed to go find it. And there's a book that goes along with it, but I don't do any of that.
Gotcha.
And
So is that normally a children's thing then?
yeah, it's where little kids can go find wherever the elf is. Like the next morning, it would be like in a new secret place.
Right. So basically just a game of hide and seek with a
Basically,
little
with a doll.
toy.
Yeah, the doll is pretty creepy if you tell me.
Gotcha. Do you find it easier to make friends with people of Hispanic culture, or is that really not so much of a deal? Or do you notice a difference talking to another Hispanic for the first time as opposed to talking to a Caucasian?
I'd say it's like a lot easier to bond because with like Mexican moms, they pretty much do the same things. So when you find out like these things about another like Mexican person, you can like bond over there and be like, oh yeah, my mom did that to me
Right.
too. And but I don't really find it difficult to make friends with anybody.
Right. Gotcha. Let's see. Do you? I remember you brought up baby showers.
Yeah.
You told me games were different, or baby showers are a lot different in your culture than they are at mine, because I went to a baby shower somewhat recently, and they basically told me that they have a gift list at Target where they'd send out invitations and etc. And then you go to Target, look at their machine, and then they would have a big list of things that they wanted for their baby or whatever it be. So you go to Target, you get something off of that list that you can afford or hasn't been gotten yet, and you wrap it up and you bring them it, and then in exchange they'll give you food and you talk and things like that. It's usually, I mean, for me it's usually like a 35 minute to an hour ordeal, but in the Hispanic culture they are different. Explain how.
Ours doesn't last like 30 minutes. Ours lasts like 2 to 3 hours because we have games that we play. We have different games. Like we even have a game like as soon as you walk in through the door, you get a pin, and what that symbolizes you can't cross your arms, you can't cross your legs, and for ladies it's really difficult. And so like throughout the whole night, if another girl or the men don't really play this game, but if another girl sees you crossing your arms or your legs, they can say, "Oh, you're crossing your legs," and they can steal your pen. And the person with the most pens at the end of the night wins a prize. And that's one game. And then another game is a cotton ball one, where you get a big bowl of cotton balls and you're blindfolded. So usually like the mother of like the person that's gonna have the baby usually hosts these games, and so then what they do is they have a big bowl of cotton balls and you're blindfolded and you have a paper plate and you put it on your head and then you get a spoon, and what you do is like you have like a minute or two you have a minute or two to get as many like cotton balls from the bowl to the plate, and it's like light as a feather, so you can't really like measure how much you're doing. And the ladies like to be really mean, saying that you have like a whole spoonful when in reality you have one, maybe even none, if possible.
Going back on the pin thing quick, do the, what should I say, the future mother and father, do they buy the gift for the recipient?
Yeah, they usually like package them too, and they have like the pins usually have like a baby on it. If it's like a boy, it's blue. If it's a girl, it's pink.
Right.
And it's just something you like wear.
Gotcha. And for the cotton balls, who all partakes in that? Is that all the adults? Or
Pretty much. Even the kids, like, we kind of cut it off with the young kids, but it's like adult, teenager, whoever wants to try, really.
Are there any other games that you play?
We play the toilet paper thing. I don't know what it's called really, but you take a roll of toilet paper and you pass it around, and the ladies have to stretch it out and they have to cut the toilet paper where it thinks that it's the size of like the mother's belly, and it has to go like all the way around from her belly, so it has to like touch her back all the way to the tippy top front, and whoever's the closest wins. And there's sometimes cheating involved, but
how does one cheat?
What you do, I'm not gonna lie, I've done this, but you have a friend and you like look at her and you roughly estimate like how much it's gonna be, and you have her go first, and then she measures if it's like bigger or smaller, and then she put her finger on it, and then you just go back and then you measure it like that.
I see.
And then there's another one with toilet paper. It's where the soon-to-be mother, leaves the room, and you use that toilet paper that you used for the belly, and you try to tie a bow with the toilet paper, and then the mother comes in and she chooses the best looking bow, and then the person that she chooses gets the prize.
Is that something you practice for?
No.
No? So
No.
I'm guessing you see a lot of very odd looking bows.
Yes. You can't use like more than what you have. So like you cut a little piece, that's all you get.
So there's some kind of strategy involved in the amount that you select from the get-go?
I think so. Like, I don't know. Estimating is pretty much hard within itself because you don't know. Like, you go and hug her, but you don't really know how big she is.
So you're strategically taking that hug right around the belly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got what you're
just
saying.
to measure, like, oh, like it's bigger than my arms or not.
I gotcha. You said there's some sort of rice game also?
Yeah, we have, it's like another blindfolding game, and you get a bowl of rice, and then you put safety pins in it, and you, like, mix it all into a big bowl, and then what you do is the person that's playing is blindfolded, and they have another paper plate, and what they have is like a minute or two to grab as many safety pins in the bowl as they can, and it's really like hard because you can't really feel the safety pins in your palms because they either slip through or I don't know, they're just small.
Mm-hmm.
And so then like you get like as many like tries as you can within that minute, and whoever wins the prize.
Gotcha. So since we're talking about food and I'm hungry, what kind of food do they serve?
Rice and beans is mostly the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
We have tortillas. It's pretty much anything you want, but my cousin just had a baby shower and she served pozole, and there was lots of salads
Now,
involved.
me not knowing at all, basically anything about Hispanic foods, what is a pozole?
Pozole is kind of like this big soup. They have like little corn stubs. I don't know what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And what you do is you put that in a big bowl, and then you have your meat. And my grandma likes to have the bone still in it. And you put it all, and then you it's like a soup like you kind of cook overnight. It takes a long time to cook until the meat is tender, and then they have like lots of spices in there.
Mm-hmm. Right. Is there a food of the Hispanic culture that you cannot stand to eat, smell, or be around?
I would say it's probably menudo.
And what is that?
It's kind of like a vegetable soup. It's just, I don't like it.
You made a face as if you want to throw up even thinking about it.
Because, I don't know, my mom thinks I like it, and so she makes it all the time, and it's just I don't like it.
She doesn't know that you don't like it?
No,
so you're just keeping her feelings protected?
Pretty much.
I got
She
you.
gets really mad when you don't when you eat the stuff. And
Now, is that something of all moms, Hispanic moms? Or is that just kind of yours? I mean, do they really value taking and then, eating what you have, etc., like things like that? Like making the most of what you have?
I think it's a form of like respect. Like my grandma and my mom like welcome everybody, and so when they serve you food, it's basically saying, "Oh, like come into my home, you're welcomed
Right.
anytime." So when you just don't eat it, they feel disrespected.
Right.
So,
Right. Are there any other kind of things other than food that are signs of respect? Because I mean, being Caucasian, I mean, food is basically just there. I mean, if you want food, come get the food.
Yeah.
Like, is there anything else that to signify, welcome or, something like that?
I think I don't think anything's different. I think that was like one of the main points. But with dating,
Mm-hmm.
dating is, well, my parents especially are really strict about dating. And my stepdad is really strict, and my grandma still follows these rules, rules. And it's where you ask permission to
Mm-hmm.
date the daughter. And my dad didn't do it until he was like 3 years into his marriage, which was really funny. Which is really funny because he asked my grandma like 3 years later. It's like, "Oh, can I have permission to date your daughter?" And she goes, "Well, you've done it already, so."
Right.
She kind of just granted it. It was pretty funny, but like when I was growing up, my sister's going through this now. There's like rules you have to like obey, and you have to. But the thing is, like, the boy has to come to the house, get to know the parents, and then ask permission if he can date the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a stressful time.
So is it like a forced tradition, something that more or less should be done, or is it kind of like playful tradition? Like, yeah, you have to ask my grandma, my parents, if you can date me. Like, is it actually taken seriously?
To my stepdad, yes. He takes it very seriously. And my grandma as well, because she's really traditional and things like that. And so then if you don't, she thinks it's disrespectful.
Interesting. Going somewhere else, do you find yourself shopping at any certain stores? that, I mean, otherwise you wouldn't? I mean, do you go places? Are there any I guess I shouldn't restrict it to shopping. Are there any places that you go to with your family that, I mean, are Hispanic centric? I guess if that's a word. You know what I'm trying to say.
We go to Skylar for bun.
Mm-hmm.
Bun is a sweetbread because they make good bun over
Is that made from other people, or is that usually get that in a supermarket?
It's made from other people. They have like this big glass case, and what you do is you take the tray out, and then you just get tongs and you put as much sweetbread as you want, and then you just go and buy it.
Then you go to someone's house for that, or is there actually like a building you can go to?
There's a store like downtown in Schuyler that you can go to, and if we don't get it there, we go to Tres Hermanos.
Right.
You know what that is? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we usually get our meat there too, just because my dad screws it.
How does naming in your family work, or in any Hispanic culture? Is it any different than?
Usually with the first boy you have, it's usually a junior, so they take like their father's name, middle name or last name, and they combine it with the name you're actually gonna give them.
So can you give an example?
My cousin's pregnant, and no, not her. Sorry. My brother is a junior, and my dad's name is Osmin Chavez, and so he's Brandon Osmin Chavez Jr. because he was the first boy.
So they took dad's first name and put it as
His
the first son's middle name.
Mm-hmm.
Is that so? That's commonplace.
Yep, my cousin's planning to do that with her soon-to-be baby too.
Very cool. See, obviously, we don't do that. My dad's name is Kelly, and ironically, my mom's name is Kim. So they can. You actually, if I told you my parents are Kelly and Kim, you wouldn't know who's the dad. But
that's terrible.
It is what it is. And ironically, my name's Blake, which could be a girl or boy's name also. So I guess that's our tradition.
There you go.
Do you have any special family bonding moments or traditions?
My family usually does movie nights, and that's usually like once, maybe twice a week, depending if I'm home or not. And we also do board games, but we usually just like get together as a family and just sit around, make food, and talk.
Right.
And that's always a good time.
I see.
Pretty weird topics come up sometimes.
Mind to mention one or two?
We usually go like, where are we gonna vacation this year? And, do you know who got who for Secret Santa? Yeah. That's usually the down low of it.
And finally, last but not least, definitely not least, the best meal of them all, breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking about it right now. I'm probably going to go to McDonald's to get all-day breakfast shortly after this. How does your family do breakfast?
We usually get up, and then my mom usually wakes everybody up with like her being in the kitchen. I don't know if this is everybody else, but she, I don't know if she does it on purpose or not, but she'll like bang like the loudest pot she has together, and she'll like put it on the stove, and she'll act like nobody's sleeping, and she'll start cooking. But usually we have like eggs, chorizo, tortillas, ham, and maybe some potatoes.
What is a chorizo?
Chorizo?
Oh, what exactly is that?
Not sure really. It's kind of like a mixture of something else, like things, and they put it in like this package, and it's red. I don't want to make it sound disgusting, but it's slimy, and like you put it right before you put your eggs, and it just mixes well. It's kind of like adds like a little kick to your eggs.
I see. All right. Well, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for sharing with Mr. Lara your bits about your culture. I noticed that there are many differences, although it may seem that there are not many. There's actually a lot of things different about her culture and my culture. So it was very interesting learning about it. Thank you for your time.
Yes.
And thank you all.